Welcome to episode 34 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. My name is William Fizzpatrick, and hello, folks, on this chilly, cold, 14-degree evening here in the middle of my neck of the woods. Sal has it actually warmer up in Michigan.
Yeah, and you see, when I woke up today and I had to go to work and go out in 20-degree weather, I thought that was bad. Fizz is in 14-degree weather. He somehow has it worse.
If the thermostat on my car is to be believed, it has been hovering between 13 and 19 degrees all day. But folks, this is a very special evening edition of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. We had some scheduling things that we had to work around. I had some errands I had to do in the afternoon, and Sal had a ton of work to do.
Yes, work. Like when I mentioned I had to go outside and work in 20-degree weather, yeah. Imagine putting luggage on like outside storage trailers, pretty much. Also imagine going outside into what was basically one of those outside storage trailers in 20-degree weather and lifting heavy boxes and bringing them into a stack room. I mean, we had a little rolling conveyor belt, so it wasn't that bad, but yes, it was very exhausting and cold. So,
yep.
Hooray.
Yeah.
I guess.
So for all of our new viewers who are most likely going to be watching this edition of the show, first of all, hello there, folks. And
Hello.
Second of all, this is Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. This is a professional wrestling podcast where we just talk about the world of professional wrestling. Usually we cover subject matters such as WWE, New Japan, CMLL, and other promotions. This would be in the other category today, as this week we are covering two shows. New Japan Pro Wrestling's latest pay-per-view, Power Struggle 2017, and a local independent show that I went to this past weekend, Southern Tier Wrestling's Rise of the Cobra from November 4th, 2017 at the Northwest Savings Bank Ice Arena in Jamestown, New York. We will be covering that show a little bit later on in the broadcast, but first, Sal, since he was out in the frozen, freezing cold dealing with luggage and 20-degree weather, let's do Power Struggle first.
Yep. Power Struggle. This happened this past Sunday, November the 5th, at the Edion Arena in Osaka, Japan. It was a very, very good show. Honestly, one of the better up and down cards on the show I've seen. And this was really built towards the final push towards New Japan's biggest show of the year, the January 4th Tokyo Dome show. Wrestle Kingdom 12, as it's called this year, although it's been called many different things in the past.
And, of course, Wrestle Kingdom 12 got some very big announcements this week that we will be talking about on today's show. To say that there's a bit of an American invasion going on would be a bit of an understatement.
Yes. And we had this one huge surprise that happened on this show. Very interesting, very awesome. I mean, we'll get into it, though, but let's start off with the first match here, which was David Finlay against Katsuya Kitamura. Now, David Finlay, he's mainly the son of Fit Finlay. And I find this funny, mainly because Katsuya Kitamura, he's a young lion, so he doesn't really do much. I mean, he's getting featured more, but, he hasn't really done much in New Japan. You would agree with that, right, Fizz?
Yeah, he hasn't done much because he's a young lion. Young lions typically usually lose in their matches, and then they go on their excursion where they become characters. And for a latest example of that, go look at Hiromu Takahashi. Look at how much of a character he became when he went down to Mexico. Yes,
love Hiromu Takahashi. I'm the Hiromu Takahashi of our little Twitter LIJ stable, but that's besides the point. But now, here's what I find funny about this. David Finlay, he's won a title in New Japan, right? He was one of the never open weight six-man titles, or title holders one time with, wasn't it like with Hiroshi Tanahashi and someone else? Or
I think it was Hiroshi Tanahashi and either Ricochet or Ryusuke Taguchi.
Yeah. Well, here's what I find funny about this. Katsuya Kitamura has a Wikipedia page and David Finlay doesn't. Like, I could understand if neither of them did, but it's like, David Finlay has actually done more stuff. Why does he still not have a Wikipedia page?
Because I don't know why.
I know.
Did he make it? I mean, does he know how to use Wikipedia in Japan, or Wikipedia isn't available in Japan as because there's a Japanese Wikipedia that updates frequently. I mean, I sometimes go to that for the sumo updates statistics, but you know, for an American, I thought David Finley had a wiki page. Guess he doesn't.
I know, isn't that weird? I mean, Katsuya Kitamura has more on him on Wikipedia than David Finley. Heck, Kawato has more on him, and I love Kawato. We'll get into him later, but still, this whole thing. And just to get into the match itself, it was fine. I mean, it was technically a pre-show match, but they did show it on the broadcast, so I don't know what's really going on with that. You know, it was a little 5-minute match with a young lion and a lower card guy. Fine match, decent way to, like, you know, it really was the complete equivalent of like a WWE kickoff show match. Mm-hmm. This is what this was. Something that was a good little match. What's your appetite a little bit? And the big thing out of this is that Katsuya Kitamura and David Finley are now a tag team going into the World Tag League.
Yes, the World Tag League, which actually got a couple of announcements as well.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to cover that, though. It'll just be really long. We can always cover it next week, because that's when it like starts, or it'll start right before anyway. So
yeah, just so people know, a couple of individuals have signed on for this tournament: Trent Beretta, Sammy Callahan, and Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, and Chuck Taylor, not Stokely Hathaway Chuck Taylor, but like Chuck Taylor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that always gets confusing now, even though I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, and you know, after that we had the first match of the actual show with the Young Bucks taking on Dragon Lee and Titan, who were still around, who came over from CMLL for a little excursion for the Best of the Super Junior Tag League, or whatever it's called, or the Super Junior Tag League. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I like this match. I have had many critical things to say about the Bucks. You know this, Fizzy.
Their tacky pants, their over-reliance on the Bullet Club gimmick, their gimmick grave robbing, and their over-reliance on the super kicks so much that they're basically owed a debt to every single wrestler since the 1960s that has used that move.
Yes. And not to mention, here's the thing, though. Like, in this match, they were mostly focused on doing an actual wrestling match, and it was good.
Well, they didn't want to peeve off the luchadors, Sal.
I know. Well,
you don't want to get the Mexican luchadors mad at you.
I understand that. I guess it just makes me more mad, because it's like, you two, when you want to, and you don't want to be like comedy goofballs, you know, you can actually be a good, you know, a good wrestling tag team. Mm-hmm. And I get why they do it, because it makes them a lot of money, and I can respect that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, I have enjoyed you so much more in this little match against Dragon Lee and Titan, who are both very capable. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was fun. You know, I mean, they
made enough money to cover the entire country of Morocco in Bullet Club fanny packs and umbrellas.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it was a good little match. The Bucks got the win with the Indy taker into the sharpshooter crossface, which I believe they're calling the cease and desist.
Ah, okay. So they're not using the Meltzer driver; they're using the cease and desist, because, of course, there's that trademark battle going on between the Bucks and the WWE corporate offices.
Yeah, and you know, it is what it is. You know, but it was fine. Actually, no, it was actually pretty good. I gave this match like 3.25 stars. I was honest. I saw Dave's ratings for it, and I was mostly in agreement with Mr. Big Dave Meltzer. Mm-hmm. Honestly, liked a couple things. I honestly liked one match a little more than him, and I hated a match a little more than him. But we'll get into the match that I hated, because, you know, as much as I'm loving New Japan, and as much as I might be seen as a homer to them at times, they put on a shit ass match. And this today, it was so bad.
Okay, so who were the opponents this time?
It was Yano and Suzuki, and I love Suzuki, but good lord, that match was bad.
Of course, because it was a Toru Yano comedy match that didn't really. They've actually had a ton of matches beforehand in 2015 and 2016 against one another. Before Minoru Suzuki went on an excursion and almost destroyed Noah.
Yeah, and then, you know, they had this stuff in the G1. Honestly, we'll get into this match later, but really the best way I can describe it is, it was a joke that went on far too long, and it stopped being funny. Mm-hmm. At least respect them enough that they're ending it now, but that doesn't make this good. Mm-hmm. So anyway, after this, we had a big 10-person tag match with Juice Robinson, Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, Kushido, and Hirai Kawato, defeating Zack Sabre Jr., Taichi, Takamichinoku, Yoshinobu, Kanemaru, and El Desperado, all from Suzuki-gun.
Mm-hmm.
Couple highlights about this match. Juice punching the hell out of Taichi and saying, "Shut the fuck up, bitch." And I am not making that quote up. He literally said that.
Of course, because here's the thing you need to understand about Japanese wrestling and Americans in wrestling in Japan. They swear a lot more because of the fact that, that
language barrier.
Yeah, the language barrier. Swear words can be universally understood by both the English and the Japanese.
Yeah. I pop so hard for that because Taichi is utter trash.
Of course,
he's a guy who will never get tired of burying. I mean, I've heard from people that he's a bit of an ass. He's really arrogant and crap, and he utterly sucks. Why Minoru Suzuki keeps him around, I have no idea.
Because Taka Michinoku is his tag partner, and Taichi is a 37-year-old junior with a blown ACL who realistically is a person who's deserves to be routinely mocked because of the sexual harassment allegations from women and all the other suspicious stuff about this guy. And we can also enjoy the gif of him getting hit in the face repeatedly with a ringside pole.
Yeah. Holy crap, he is 37. Good Lord. What is he still... What does Taka Michinoku see in this guy that he keeps him around?
Well, the thing is that Taichi is associated with Taka Michinoku, who's Taka Michinoku has his own promotion called Kaientai Dojo.
I knew about that. I didn't know Taichi was from there. God dang it, Taka.
But basically, it's like the old samurai way of having a bunch of retainers around you, and Taichi is one of those old retainers. And unfortunately for us, a lot of the New Japan is not really looking at the Kaientai Dojo students for a replacement.
Unfortunately, I cannot think of anyone who would not be an improvement upon Taichi. Hell, I'd take Cody over Taichi, and Cody's out here being Mr. 2.5 star, not killing the indies, but that's mainly because nothing can kill the indies right now.
Nothing except for, mismanagement of promotions, money being missing, and of course, Flow Slam being Flow Slam, but again, or WWN Live being WWN Live. Yeah. But like we said, the indies, they are still sustaining themselves, but it's a situation where the super indie concept is really driving up the cost of a lot of different things, which makes me a little concerned. But regardless, Sal, so what was the next match after this?
Tenkoji, Hiroshi Tenzin, and Satoshi Kojima, and Toki Makabe defeating Cody, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens. It was a match. It was fine. It was pretty boring, but it was like the third or fourth match on the card. Or no, it's the third match on the main card. I did not expect much from this.
But the 10-man was better than this match.
Yes, it was. The 10-man I actually thoroughly enjoyed, and I should go back to this for a minute. Hirai Kawato, that dude is awesome. You should have seen he has great babyface fire. Everyone was fired up for him. He did this big Tope Con Hero. It was awesome with him doing that. And I just love this. I mean, you see him go into the back and everyone's cheering him on, like Juice and Jushin Thunder Liger and Kushida and all them. They were cheering the hell out of it, on him and stuff. It was awesome. This dude, I tweeted after the match, I said, this dude has the potential to be something special, and I really see that. So, that's Kawato. Love that guy. And Kushido beat Taka and to get the win for the team, but that was that. And after that, we had that 6-man, which was not very good. It was fine, 2 stars. It was an average match.
I mean, what we can hope for is that Cody gets stuck in Toge Makabe matches for the next several months, because Toge Makabe is basically the Cody Rhodes equivalent of a New Japan wrestler. And I don't mean as an insult to the man, but he is 40 years old, and
at least Toge Makabe, you can say he is 40 years old. He used to be better, but nowhere near, But yes, you can hope for that. Unfortunately, Cody has a date with someone who should not have to wrestle Cody, for God's sake, who should not have to do the job for him at Wrestle Kingdom. I am so mad at that match.
Who is it?
Ibushi. He was so good tonight.
Mhm.
I mean, and we'll get into this, but I was talking with friends of the show, George and Chris, and make sure to check them out right after we're done. Pluggo for the Two Guys One Sport right after we're done.
Mhm.
But like I was talking with them, and I'm like, why do they never put the big belts on Ibushi? And they're like, well, it's because he's a freelancer, and he's not always around. And I'm like, why doesn't he just sign?
Well, the thing is that Ibushi is joint contracted. He actually was originally joint. The last contract he was actually joint contracted with New Japan and DDT.
Yeah.
The reason that they don't put the belt on Ibushi is because of the fact that he's had some injury concerns, mainly concussions.
Yeah. I also think the fact that he's joint contracted doesn't help, mainly because, there's also the probability that he'll miss a lot of time. He could potentially miss a bunch of time if DDT wants him. And, they kind of want to have the belt like in-house. Like they don't want any, risky stuff. And I mean, I get Ibushi wanting to be joint contracted and keep his options open, but man, is it just kind of depressing because he's so good and you just want to see him get a nice run with a title.
Mhm.
Not even necessarily the heavyweight title, maybe just like, the
Never open
IC
weight.
title.
Oh,
Or, yeah. Yeah. I actually want Juice to win that.
Mhm.
I think it would be cool for him. But anyway, after that match, we had the finals of the Super Junior Tag Team Tournament. Roppongi 3K, the reigning IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions, defeated Super 69, the team of Ryusuke Taguchi and ACH, representing Taguchi Japan.
Miracles do happen. Thankfully, the people with the flashy pants decided to win this match.
Yeah, it was weird because, champions in New Japan tournaments, they usually don't win the tournament. They won this tournament. And I mean, it was a very, very, very fun match. Very good match. Yo and ACH were both beaten up. ACH had his ribs taped because he had gotten his ribs hurt throughout the course of the tournament. And, that's what they focused on. Sho and Yo. Roppongi 3K, they attacked ACH's ribs. Taguchi got the hot tag, hit a bunch of big moves, and had a corner dive. Sho and Yo went back and got the offense, and ACH whenever he got offense, he would sell his ribs, which I mean, awesome. Because it made like every move mean that much more. It was really great. I mean, this match was awesome, and in the end, Sho and Yo hit their finish, the 3K on ACH to win it in just under 16 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, the Bucks came out and challenged them.
Mm-hmm.
So this match was awesome. Dave gave it 3 1/4. I like this at least a half star more. I could even maybe go 4 stars, like 3 3/4, 4 stars on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome, and it showed me 2 things. 1, Sho and Yo are great, and I absolutely love them. 2, actually 3 things. 2, Taguchi Japan is great. Like, I don't know if I told you this, but I've so turned on Taguchi Japan. I absolutely love them. You remember I used to be like, why is Taguchi Japan a thing? Why is Taguchi the leader of a stable? I totally love them now. I was completely wrong, and I will freely admit that. They are great.
Well, I mean, at the time, it was, at the time, the opinion was, okay, Taguchi Japan is an okay stable. It's basically the babyface stable of New Japan.
Yeah, and it is awesome. It's just, I mean, they're a little wacky, a little funny, but they're great. I love them. They're like, I mean, LIJ is always first right now for me because, they're just absolutely perfect. But Taguchi Japan is great too, and I love them. The third thing this match showed me is I want ACH to have an extended run with New Japan. Because, good Lord, was he great in this.
We'll see how he does. Well, I mean, this gave him a really good look, so we'll see if New Japan is interested in bringing ACH on board.
Yeah, I would really be down for that because I remember seeing that evolve when he and All Ego Ethan Page won the tag belts there for that one day before losing them the very next because Ethan Page left. But man, is he so good. He can do really good, like, actual wrestling and comedy too. I mean, he's so good. And I'd love to see a company like New Japan, actually like bring him on for maybe like a 6-month, year-long run. But yeah, no, this match was great. It kicked so much ass.
Mm-hmm.
And after this, we had Kazuchika Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Gato beating Naito, Evil, Sanada, Bushi, and Hiromu in Chaos versus LIJ 10-man.
Mm-hmm.
This was pretty much, to set up the fact that Naito and Okada are facing at the Dome.
Yeah.
It was it was a solid tag 10-man, like 3 stars. Nothing super amazing, nothing bad. It was really just a further feud, and there's nothing wrong with that, but, it didn't really matter. It wasn't like something... This isn't what anyone would have bought this pay-per-view for. You know what I mean? And Okada beat Bushi with the Rainmaker in just over 12 minutes. And it was good. It was fine. And after this, we had the Never Openweight title with Minoru Suzuki defeating Toru Yano in a bull rope death match. This match was just garbage. I just did not like it. It was pretty much like the rope was really only used to choke people out a couple times. It wasn't used much. This match went long. I think it went like 18 minutes. It was boring. Or no, excuse me, it went 15 minutes. And Minoru beat him in 1. And this match, I had it at like 1.25 stars. It was trash. I hated this. And after that, we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title between Marty Scurll and Will Ospreay. Mm-hmm. Will Ospreay having just won it at Kings of Pro Wrestling.
And he has to face against the guy who calls himself a villain, but actually really isn't.
I mean, he's annoying. Mm-hmm. He's kind of my villain in the fact that I want him off of my TV. Mm-hmm. But, he's not a bad wrestler, and I feel like the biggest issue with him is the fact that he never really, like...
He takes things too seriously at times.
No, well, no, not even... I honestly say it's the argument. It's the opposite. He's too goofy. Mm-hmm. Like, he comes in with flapping his arms...
Chicken wing.
Yes, I missed that. I didn't know that. His entrance has the freaking woot woot or whoop whoop or whatever. That is so annoying. But when he wants to be serious, he's actually a pretty good wrestler. And this match showed that. He got, it was like a 4.25 star match, and Scurll got the win. They had a really good back and forth stuff, and Ospreay, I think, was going for his Os cutter or something like that, and Scurll reversed it into, like, not a cradle, but, like, he flipped him over and did the pin where, like, the guy's, like, sitting down pretty much, and his legs around the guy's getting pinned arms. You know that pin I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he got the pin in about 18 minutes. It was a pretty good match. Actually, it was a very good match, I should say. 4.25. Scurll's the champ. Afterwards, Hiromu Takahashi, or first Kushida came out. Mm-hmm. Will was looking at him like, what the hell happened? And tried to challenge him again. Mm-hmm. Kushida challenged, Will challenged. Hiromu came out, put a helmet over his head so no one could grab his hair, because that's how someone stopped him before. Then he put, like, gloves on so no one could grab his fingers, because that's how he also got stopped before. Mm-hmm. And then he also challenged, and now it's a 4-way at the Dome for the title.
So we have a madman who thinks that he's a villain, an aerial assassin, a guy who thinks he's from Back to the Future, and Hiromu Takahashi, who's the most normal person here.
Yes, the glorious Hiromu Takahashi. Yes, it was a very, very good match. I am so looking forward to that match. And I think, and this is me just sort of reading the tea leaves of New Japan, but I get the feeling that they had Scurll win it because, God, I can't, fucking hell, why can't I think of his name? Hiromu Takahashi. What the hell is wrong with me? Mm-hmm. Because Hiromu Takahashi is going to win it at the Dome, and Naito's going to win his title at the Dome, and they're going to transition into a Bullet Club New Japan, Bullet Club LIJ feud. With LIJ
goody, more Bullet Club.
Well, hey, I mean, as long as they lose to LIJ, I'm fine with this. Mm-hmm. I mean, someone pointed, I was watching a show, YouTube video, I can't remember by who, but he pointed out how Naito and the G1 lost to Fale, but never defended his contract against him. Mm-hmm. So when Naito wins the belt, they can use that as a reason for why Fale could get a match. for the title.
Yeah. Let's just hope that the ringleader of the Gula Club is busy battling some old man in a boat.
Yeah. Oh God, we'll get to that. After this, we had Kenny Omega against Beretta for the IWGP US Heavyweight title.
Mm-hmm.
This match was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I gave this 5.5 stars. And like I've said, I've had many bad things to say about Kenny too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he took this one pretty seriously,
mm-hmm.
and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how great this match was. When Trent Beretta hit his Dude Buster finisher,
mm-hmm.
Going into this, we could say we both knew Trent Beretta was not winning this match. Right?
Yeah, we could say that.
Yeah. When Trent Beretta hit his Dude Buster and got the near fall, I thought he was going to win the match. That's how good this match was. It got me to think a guy going in, I knew had a 0% chance of winning this match because there was no way in hell New Japan would have Kenny drop the belt to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly thought he was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
That is how good this match was.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny eventually got the win after a V-trigger and a one-winged angel.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just great. So great. After the match, he cut a promo. In both English and Japanese, he pretty much repeated what he said in English and Japanese. Although something interesting I noted is that he uses Watashi to refer to himself and not Ore or Boku.
Mm-hmm.
Just found that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Jericho appeared on their big screen and challenged him. And that will be the match at the Dome for the U.S. title.
See, here's the story about Jericho. He apparently wants to do some kind of crazy boat cruise in the Bahamas in 2018. I wish all of the poor unfortunate souls that go on that boat trip the best of luck at this point, because it's Chris Jericho, it's a boat, it's professional wrestlers on a boat. That can only mean one thing. A disaster movie of epic proportions that makes the Titanic look small.
Yeah, you see what he tweeted today?
Mm-hmm.
You saw that, right?
I didn't see it. What was it?
He said 35% of all the seats taken are women ages 18 to 49. That's a lot of bikinis. And he was soundly mocked by a lot of people, and rightfully so. And he's like, book your tickets now. It's like, really, dude? Really?
I'm thinking there's going to be a mutiny by if there are any female wrestlers who are going to be on the boat. There's probably going to be a mutiny, and every single guy or dude pro is probably going to be on a tiny dinghy in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, fending off from the sharks and the hornswoggles that are in the water.
Hopefully, yes, but no. This was a I mean. Look, it was honestly very surprising. When I saw it was Chris Jericho, I won't lie, I did mark out a bit because, well, it was very interesting. It was very surprising because, everyone thought he was still under contract to WWE. He's not.
I think he's still out. Apparently, there are reports that he still is under contract with WWE, but this is purely to help out with his boat cruise thing. He's got permission from WWE to do this excursion.
Well, from what I heard from Dave, and the only reason I'm actually trusting Dave on this is because allegedly Jericho himself is one of Dave's sources.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Dave's saying he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, since Jericho is supposedly one of Dave's sources, and Dave is saying he isn't, I'm going to give Dave a little bit of trust here.
I trust that as well. I feel like, but we don't really know for sure because Jericho loves to work everybody when it comes to these things.
He does. I really don't think he is under contract, but if I wouldn't surprise me if if he is under contract, it wouldn't surprise me if this is WWE's way of paying New Japan back for letting them Liger a couple of years ago in NXT.
Yeah.
Although the way they're paying them back is kind of disproportionate, but
Here's the thing about Japan, the Japanese promotions. Vince McMahon does not like crossing the Japan promotions very often because those guys were the guys who helped him in the business. Giant Baba, Antonio Inoki, all those guys were very instrumental in the WWF's dominance in the late 70s because they brought over talent over there.
Yeah. So, hopefully, it's a really cool moment. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Like, the match itself won't be very good.
I mean, if AJ Styles will probably be tapping Kenny on the shoulder and saying, "Good luck, son. You're
Yeah.
gonna need it."
Yeah, the new WWE champion AJ Styles saving me from our long international nightmare.
Unfortunately for us, Jinder Mahal is not going to be turned into curry powder by Brock Lesnar. Instead,
Yeah.
it's going to be the hobo facing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series.
Yeah, well, at least they ended that god awful gender title one, and I can actually watch SmackDown again. But we'll get to that in a bit. And then after that match, we had the final match of the night: Kota Ibushi against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Holy crap, this match ruled. This match right here, good lord, it was so great. You had Ibushi going for his golden triangle moonsault. Tanahashi had him scouted, hit the low drop kick, really worked over Ibushi's leg, and Ibushi was great on the sell. I mean, he sold it so consistently. It was just so good. Ibushi went for the knee a couple times. And Tanahashi and Ibushi got into this huge, big slap strike fest. Really great. Tanahashi got a near fall with a dragon suplex, and then he got the win with two high fly flows. 4 3/4 stars. Hell of a match. Everyone should go out and watch this match right now.
Oh my goodness. Does this mean that Tanahashi is going to be doing another DDT Pro excursion?
I have no idea.
Oh my god, you need to see Tanahashi's DDT run. That run is amazing because Tanahashi is a heel in that feud.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, that sounds great. But no, this match right here, like, this was incredible. Absolutely loved it. And after the match, Tanahashi was cut a promo, and he played an air guitar. The air guitar was extended, and I didn't really care for it, but the crowd was into it, so I'm like, the crowd's into it. They like it. It's fine. And then out came Switchblade. You know how they were hyping him up. They did this last year, only instead of Switchblade, it was Hiromu Takahashi. This year, Switchblade is Jay White.
Oh, Jay White. They're giving Jay White a push.
Yeah, a big push. He's challenging Tanahashi at the Dome for the IC title. So, I mean, talk about a way to debut a guy. They must have some very high expectations for him. But yes, Jay White will challenge Hiroshi Tanahashi. And after that, that was the end of the show. Well, he did hit Tanahashi with the shell shock, but, that kind of goes without saying. And, yeah, that was the Power Struggle show. A very, very good show. There was that one really bad Yano Suzuki match, which pains me to say because I love Suzuki.
But it was expected that these two might have a match that would struggle a little bit.
Yeah. The opening, like the Super Junior Tag Tournament finals, that was excellent. Young Bucks and defeating Dragon Lee and Titan was fun. The huge multi-man matches were all fine to pretty good. The last 3 matches on the card were all excellent, and they should all be watched. And after this, we got some more stuff for Wrestle Kingdom 12. Confirmed. We got, like we said, Switchblade Jay White, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the 4-way against the Dome, our Roppongi 3K against Sho and Yo and the Bucks, and Kenny Omega against Chris Jericho, along with the already known Kazuchika Okada and Tetsuya Naito. And the last match that happened at a press conference after was Cody taking on Kota Ibushi for the ROH World Heavyweight Championship. Although Cody does have a defense schedule between now and then, and if he loses the belt, it will just be a special exhibition match.
So Namor of Atlanta faces against Kota Ibushi.
Yeah.
Or maybe he faces against Tiger Mask W. Who knows?
Oh, God. Why in the hell did they put Kota Ibushi under that mask?
Because of the fact that he still had a 90-day clause to end out with WWE.
Holy crap! That's how they got around the 90-day clause. That is amazing.
That's just a thought I just have was like maybe they put him under the mask to get around the 90-day clause if Kona had signed with WWE and then wanted out of his contract.
I don't think he officially signed though. I think it was just
A freelance deal, but there are little clauses in the WWE contract that so basically, in order for Ibushi to work in Japan, he'd have to don a new gimmick, and of course, because they're promoting Tiger Mask W, the anime, it was decided that he'd be going under that.
Yeah, but you know, Cody against Ibushi. I mean, Ibushi's going to have to carry Cody so hard in this match. I
think he'll be fine. I think he'll do okay because you know this is a dome show, and Cody is going to have to put at least his Freestar working boots on in this one.
Yeah. I mean, Cody, I know it's hard for you, man. I get it. I know you're Mr. 2.5 star, and it's really hard for you to even get up to 3. This is January 4th at the Tokyo Dome. You're probably going to do, I'd say, at least 30,000, probably more than that. And you're going up against Kota Ibushi, who is one of the best in the world. You can. I want to have some faith in you, man. Just shoot for 3 stars, and Kota will make sure you get up to like 3.5. But you gotta give him something here, man. You gotta give him something here.
Yep.
But yes, that was Power Struggle. It was a very, very enjoyable show. If you have the New Japan World and you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. If you don't have the New Japan World, I'd honestly recommend signing up for 1 month just to watch this. It would be about $9 American. So.
Okay, so that's our New Japan coverage for this week.
Yep.
That sounds like a really, really good show. I really do need to start getting back into New Japan and start watching a little bit more of it just to, you know, see what's going on. I'm certainly becoming a really big fan of Evil, but I was a big fan before. I kind of sort of had to step away from New Japan for a little bit, you know, it cycled out of my wrestling schedule, and now I'm going to probably get back into watching New Japan a little bit more before the Dome show.
Yep, that's good. Because, you know, we need to talk about the Dome show and stuff, and the Dome is looking very good so far. I'm really looking forward to the Dome show.
So we move from the Dome show to a ice arena.
Yes. We go from a huge arena in Osaka to a smaller arena in Jamestown, New York.
Okay, folks, strap yourselves in for this is the show called STW Southern Tier Wrestling's Rise of the Cobra from November 4th, 2017 from the Northwest Savings Bank Arena in Jamestown, New York, recently renamed. Used to be known as the Jamestown Savings Bank Ice Arena, but they had a brand change. Anyway, I went to this show on Saturday, November 4th, and this show had a 2:30 p.m. bell time. It actually started on time. Yes, an indie show actually started on time for once, but that's because everybody was there and all of the matches went on as scheduled. We currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches on this card. I paid a general admission ticket for it was only $10, very reasonable price to go to a wrestling show. And let's see here. We open our show with a promo from Santino Marella. That's why it's called Rise of the Cobra. Note, folks, a couple weeks back I said the show was called Return of the Cobra. It wasn't. It was Rise of the Cobra. So I want to make that minor correction right there. And Santino cuts a promo and says that he is really happy to be here. He loved wrestling in the Canada and New York region because before he became a WWE wrestler, he was wrestling on the independent circuit in Canada and in New York State. Now, this was before my time because I had started watching wrestling in 2009 when I was 18, and Santino was employed by WWE back then. So he cuts this really nice promo. He didn't use his traditional accent. He actually talked in a more normal voice, probably because we had once again, the Ice Arena, for those who don't know, is kind of notorious for microphones suddenly malfunctioning out of nowhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we took our seats in the second row. It was really, really nice. We got to sit right by the front row, so we got to see all the action. It was a really great experience. And we started off with the Santino Marella promo. He did his traditional babyface promo, you know, how he was happy to be here. He was a guest of this promotion, Southern Tier Wrestling, that had brought him in. He was signing autographs over on the one table, so all the fans got to see him, and it was a very enjoyable time to be there. And so for the fans, it was great to see Santino Marella. For me, I was happy that he was there, but at the same time, I was like seeing where this was going. So enter the Divine Alliance. Now, this is one of the many heel stables that is in Southern Tier Professional Wrestling, and it is led by Joe Kennedy. Not wearing his You're a Bum jacket this time, but instead wearing something that he looks like he bought out of a 1970s thrift shop.
He's moving up.
Yeah, he's moving up. He's moving up, man. And he was joined by his associates, the Caesar.
Caesar.
Yes. And no, it's not Caesar Romero's Joker, nor is he not a Roman Legionnaire. He actually looks like a backup guitarist for the band Kiss.
Okay. I was just going to ask, he does know that the traditional Russian monarchs are called czars, not Caesars. I mean, I know it's derived from Caesar, but they don't call themselves Caesars. And if he's going for the German version, it's Kaiser.
No, he's not known for the German version. He's basically dressed up like a Kiss rocker along with his tag partner.
I don't know if I love this or hate this or I'm confused by this.
Well, if you're interested, TMK Pro Wrestling Photography on Facebook has the entire event posted on their page on Facebook. I know the photographer. He's a very nice guy. His name is Tim. Funny story. He's the first guy that I met of this particular crew because of the fact that I was his cashier at a local retail chain of stores during the holiday season. And if you're all wondering how this guy managed to get on time, despite the fact that he was stuck in the middle of the checkout line that never ends, well, I was his cashier and I got him out the door quickly with his camera and his batteries.
And that's how it works.
Yeah, and it was so funny that it started off, I noticed that he was wearing a Pro Wrestling Noah shirt, and I commented on it, and I was like, he was surprised to find somebody who was interested in Japanese wrestling who was working at a Kmart. Good old holiday season jobs at Kmart. That was a fun experience. You know, so he started talking about the local independent shows, like, hey man, Kevin Steen's doing his final indie show in Erie. I'm like, yeah man, I can't really go. So it was sort of a running gag for about 6 months until finally I show up out of the blue at a wrestling show at the community college in April of 2015. That was when I saw Rhino tumble down 3 flights of bleachers while it was in a main event match against John McChesney. So I didn't attend any events in 2016 because I just didn't have the time for it, and I, was working with a budget. And so in 2017, I've been able to attend 2 events so far. So anyway, the Divine Alliance interrupted Santino Marella's promo and then proceeded to claim that they will win the Southern Tier Wrestling Tag Team Championships of the world against those dastardly homewreckers. Note, the homewreckers are faces in this promotion. Out come the Homewreckers, Anthony Gaines and Jet Rebel, and they come to defend Santino Marella after the Divine Alliance wants to maul him. So they come out with the tables and the chairs, and they say that they are going to win the Tag Team Championships or retain the Tag Team Championships at this event. And if the Divine Alliance doesn't win, they can no longer challenge for the tag belts while the Homewreckers are champions.
That's honestly one of the steps in wrestling that I absolutely love to end a huge long feud, and one that I wouldn't mind getting seen used a little bit more. Mainly because you want to end a feud and you want to have a heel get some really good heat. You have them cheat to win, or you have him or you set it up if I don't win the belt this time, then I will never challenge again as long as you're champion, and then the heel intentionally gets himself DQ'd or something. Just great heel heat. I kind of hate that we don't see that much anymore. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's something that's not employed often, but on the independent scene, it's implied very, very often because of the fact that, you want to end the feud after about 2 or 3 shows at least, so that, you don't have to drag out a feud. So that set up the segment for the tag match, which was a tables match for the championships, for the Southern Tier Wrestling Tag Team Championships. Now, this was be later on in the card, but first, how about a random 6-pack challenge to start things off?
Yeah, why not? Good, big multi-man opening matches are always good to pop the crowd.
Yep, this was a six-pack challenge match, which meant that there were 6 competitors facing against one another. We have Mike Skyros, Dewey, West Adams, T.O., Captain Nick Ando. Yes, he's a captain. And Ken Dunnett. That is pronounced D-U-E-N-D-E. And he was the guy who came in last, and he was carrying a rose.
Huh.
So obviously he must have failed his feeder auditions and was looking to take out his vengeance upon the remaining 5 opponents.
I'm not sure if you just praised the guy or buried him there, Fizzy.
I praised him there because honestly, he's really a good wrestler. Same thing with Wes Adams, same thing with Skyros, same thing with Dewey, T.O., and Ando. They did a wonderful job in this 6-pack challenge match. All of these guys, except for Dewey and I think Mike Skyros has been on a 7-tier wrestling card before. All of these guys are pretty much new to the promotion. Most of them come from the International IWF from Brockport, New York, or Upstate Pro Wrestling in Rochester. So this is their first time down here in Jamestown performing, and they did a really good job getting the crowd invested into this opening match. West Adams really, my mom complimented him on the fact that he jumps the ropes like AJ Styles.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Skyros, oh my God, that guy's got potential. I mean, he's got a potential to be a really popular babyface down here. Ando's a really good heel. Like, he can really get under your skin really easily. T.O. lifted the 350-pound Dewey on his back and did a move on him. I think it was a spine buster or a fireman's carry. Like, here's a note, folks. I am not very well versed in the whole professional wrestling moveset things. All I know is who won the match. And in this case, it was Mike Skyros. Okay. This was a really, really good opening match, and it really set the tone for the crowd, which led to them screaming and raving every opportunity they got, except for one segment, which we'll get to later on in the show, which led me partially deaf in one ear for majority of the show.
Yep. That's how you know you're at a good indie show.
Yep. And speaking of good indie shows, we start off with our first singles match. As the Godfather music began to play once again, we are greeted by the Don, Rob Sweet, facing off against the Mako.
He stole my gimmick.
Remember that Godfather guy from the last show at the fairgrounds? Yeah.
Yeah. He stole my gimmick. Really?
The Don came back again to have a singles match against the Shark Dude in a mask, the Mako. And this was a good match. This was, once again, another solid match, and this was a bit of a surprise result. Rob Sweet ended up winning in this match. Normally, the babyfaces in 7-tier wrestling win, but sometimes the heels do pull out victories, and Rob Sweet was one of the heels that pulled out a victory on this card. And was a really enjoyable match. After the fast-paced tempo of the 6-pack challenge, this was a really good classic wrestling match, face versus heel. And Rob Sweet defeated the Mako, who's a masked wrestler, and that set us up for the third match. Okay, folks, for those of you who like economics and professional wrestling and analytical statistics, there is no podcast better than WrestleNomics Radio, hosted by Chris Harrington, a.k.a. Mookie Aganya, and Brandon Thurston Howard. That show airs every week or so. They just did about 4 hours worth of podcasting last week. They talked about the Observer Awards and WWE finances and all this other stuff, analytical statistics, legal paperwork, documents, spreadsheets, and more. And they also have a Patreon up as well if you would like to contribute to that as well. The reason I'm doing this promotion right now is because the patron saints of professional wrestling are next in this match. So, when Brandon Thurston is not doing analytical analysis, he is busy trying to rip people's arms off as being one of those dastardly heels to ever dastardly heel in the area.
Of course, he's into economics. That is the biggest heel thing ever.
Yes.
I'm taking an economics class, Fizzy. That thing is fucking murder.
Oh my goodness, he will be happy to hear that.
I mean, good Lord, is that class bad? It's just so annoying. I mean, God bless the guy. He must have a really smart brain.
Of course he is. He's from Buffalo. He also trains people at Grapplers Anonymous. and most of the students were in this match. It was Vince Fowler, James Sangria, that's Segura, that's Sayga, Vinny Mood, and Daniel Garcia versus Brandon Thurston and his merry band of patron saints of professional wrestling. Terrell Kenneth, Mikey Everynight, and Steve Gage. Oh my God, this was a beautiful 8-man tag. They did everything in this match. You know that triple man spot where everybody gets in the center of the ring and tries to do a somersault flip?
Yeah.
They did that spot in this match.
Nice.
It was awesome. Oh, and for those of you who have your Randy Orton statistic counters available at the merchandise tables, yes, there were dives in this match. 4 of them to be exact.
Please tell me they have Randy Orton dive counts as an actual thing.
They should patent that. They should patent Randy Orton dive counts. For those of you who have your little wristwatch counter, just set it for 4 times 1 time Randy Orton flips out over a dive. This would be this particular match because there were 4 dives until Terrell Kenneth decided to end the madness by trying to turn James Syringa into a pancake. And once again, Terrell Kenneth was an absolute beast in this match. Like the last time at the Fairground show, he was amazing. And so were the rest of the patron saints of professional wrestling doing their part in trying to get as much sympathy to the babyfaces as possible. And the babyfaces doing their part in trying to get the crowd energized. It was loud. It was amazing. They dived right in front of our section.
Hopefully they didn't land on you.
No, I was in the second row. There were plenty of bodies in front of me and the arena. So yeah, they did the dives right in front of our section. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was so cool to see because usually when they do the dives, they do it in one of the sections, and we happened to be sitting in that section this time because last time I went to the ice arena to a show. Actually, wait a minute. This is the first show I've gone to this year. I went to Southern Tier Wrestling Gold Rush back in April.
Yeah.
So I've gone to 2 shows at the Ice Arena and 1 show in the 85-degree heat of a swamp in Frewsburg, New York in the middle of nowhere. And what a contrast. 85-degree heat versus, I don't know. Sal, you are an expert at ice arenas. This was about 30, I think. 30 to 40 because they have to keep the ice cold.
Yeah, no, it would have to be under 30. Because if it isn't, the ice would start melting.
Yeah, so basically I had to... So for those of you who want to attend an ice arena show, wear a jacket, wear a shirt, wear a long sleeve shirt, and if you have a sweater vest, you might want to add that as well, because that's what I was wearing.
Yeah. But no, if you ever can go to a hockey rink for a show, though, because I used to play hockey, and I was talking to Fizzy about this. They're always fun to go to. So, just go to a hockey rink. Go to a hockey game. They're fun. They're expensive, but they're fun. I don't know.
Well, funny thing is that it actually was a double header. There was the wrestling show in the one arena, and that there's 2 ice arenas. Okay. There's the smaller arena, which is used for ice skating events. That's the section that we're using. And then on the other side, there's the big arena with the bleachers and the seats and the stands. Yeah, the Jamestown Express were having a hockey game at 5:30.
Huh. You stick around for that or no?
No, we just went to the wrestling show. By then, we were really chilled to the bone because of the fact it was under 30 degrees. And because the way they had it set up was the wrestling ring was in the center of the rink.
Okay.
And it was on top of the ice, so they had padding on top of it to protect the, those foam paddings that you put on top of the ice arena so that the ice is protected. So we were sitting in the second row, which is in the middle of the arena itself, on the ice, with just foam padding, with foam interlocking padding underneath the ice.
That's awesome. I almost kind of wish they didn't put that on so you could see the wrestlers trying just slipping and sliding out of it as they get out of the ring. That'd be kind of funny. I don't know.
I think some arenas do things differently, but at this case, it's they do it professionally. So after this, we had Rico Cruz, who won the #1 contendership for the Southern Tier Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, come out for a promo. to hype up the crowd and to do a segment with the current champion, Big Time Bill Collier. Now, this was the one segment that fell flat, unfortunately, and it was for a very specific reason. Rico Cruz is a sympathetic babyface. Bill Collier is currently a sympathetic babyface as well. They did a face versus face match for the main event of the Southern Tier Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. This also turned out to be Rico Cruz's last match.
Oh.
So when Rico Cruz said, if I can't beat you, then I don't have a career, what it did is it was basically akin to a boxer and a sumo wrestler sucker punching a person in the guts and draining most of the energy out of the crowd because there was just this shock of, okay, this is his last match. We didn't know that this was going on. And I know and I understand that they were trying to do the high-stakes drama. The booking team is trying to do the high-stakes drama here in front of this crowd who likes Rico Cruz and who likes Bill Collier. They didn't know who to cheer for.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because if what you're describing, so like Bill Collier is a sympathetic babyface champion, and if he wins, this other sympathetic babyface has to retire.
Yeah.
It would be kind of like, I don't know, like let's say Daniel Bryan going up against who's going up against Tetsuya Naito, and they're both like supposed to be really sympathetic baby faces. And Daniel Bryan says, yeah, and if I lose, or no, maybe no, Daniel Bryan going up against Hiroshi Tanahashi because Tanahashi's a more clean-cut babyface than Naito.
Yep.
And if Daniel Bryan says, if I can't beat Naito or Tanahashi for the IC title, I'm going to retire. I feel like a lot of people would be gut punched.
Yeah, it was a total gut punch move, which I understand completely that you guys were trying to do some high stakes drama. In this situation, don't necessarily think it worked to the extent that you wanted it to, because both of these individuals are sympathetic baby faces. If this was a heel claiming that this was his last match, then it would have worked out a lot better, because Bill Collier is your classic working class hero of this promotion.
Yeah.
And you have Rico Cruz, who's incredibly sympathetic to the northern areas of Chautauqua County. That's why they had him become the #1 contender, because their last show was in the Chautauqua County Fair down in Dunkirk. And Rico Cruz is from there.
Yeah.
So you have a situation where nobody knows who to cheer for in this situation. And, you know, we'll get to the main event when we get to it. But thankfully, they did a really good job of trying to bring people back into the match.
Well, that's good.
So after that, we had the intermission. And I was really happy that they did an intermission. Now, the last time I went to a wrestling show, they did do an intermission because they were in a rush to get the show done as quickly as possible before sunset, because it was in the county fair. And it was at the Frewsburg Fairgrounds, Fireman's Grounds, and they needed to get out before like sunset. And it was also 85 degrees outside. This time, because of the 30-degree heat, they had the traditional intermission, so I was able to walk amongst the crowd and go to the merchandise tables.
Yay!
I currently have sitting behind me 2 shirts. I got one from Asylum. This is my second Asylum shirt that I have purchased from him. Because, of course, he's from Canada, so obviously, you know, want to support the Canadian wrestler who's coming down all the way down to Jamestown after doing several shows up in Canada. He did 2 matches on October 29th, and it was November 4th when he showed up for his match. So I figured, you know, he's coming all the way down here. He's such a nice wrestler, very nice individual. Then I also met Vince Fowler after his match, and I bought my second Vince Fowler shirt from him.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice individual. Once again, I also got a free button pin.
Nice.
He always provides little button pins and doodads with his merch with every t-shirt purchase.
Well, that's nice of him.
Yeah, I got a wristband last time, and I donated it to a supermarket employee. So as I was going and buying my merchandise from Mr. Valor, I get approached by Mikey every night. And one of the funniest things I've had in it, that's the wonderful thing about independent wrestling shows, is that the wrestlers are so nice. You know, because they're all local guys, and they're all trying to make it big in the world of professional wrestling. And so Mikey confuses me for his favorite rapper. Because I had my hair in a ponytail at the time. And he's like, he's not sure. And he wanted to get a picture with me. I'm like, okay, sure. And I just roll with the punches there. And what ends up happening is he finds out that I'm a freelance podcaster who does 2 podcasts. And that led to the odyssey of both me and my mother, because my mom was also at the show as well. And she was really happy to be at the show. It's such a nice experience, you know, to watch professional wrestling. And because she can give really good feedback, and she also knows how to incite a crowd into a frenzy. better than anybody. And because they used to have to pay her. As explained before, my mother used to be in community theater, and she would also be paid by the theater attendants and staff to incite the crowds to cheer or boo when a show was going on.
Okay, I actually heard they used to do stuff like this and still do. Like you can apparently get a crowd, I think, of like something like 10,000 people to all applaud just by strategically using like, I think, like 30 people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can incite a crowd into a frenzy pretty easily, you know, just booing. And like what I do at wrestling shows is I boo the faces, I boo the heels, cheer the faces. That's my modus operandi, and that's the modus operandi. I'm not like some hipster smark who boos the faces and cheers the heels. I'm like, that's not my responsibility. That's the responsibility of whatever hipster who's had far too much to drink that night. You know, I cheered the faces, boo the heels, and the heels were just so happy to see, because I posed with pictures with Valor's t-shirt. So I got every patron saint of professional wrestling, as well as the faces who were in that 8-man tag match, as well as some of the guys in the 6-pack challenge. So we took a lot of pictures. It was a really cool experience. We really, once again, very, very, very thankful to all the wrestlers who posed for pictures for us. You know, this podcast here is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I knew that if I attended another indie wrestling show, I would be doing yet another podcast on my local promotion. And this is just so cool for me to do. So intermissions at wrestling shows are awesome. You know, it also gives me a chance to relax, breathe in and out. And like the ice arena has a nice little upstairs area where you can go back and forth. There's a hallway, like there's a vending machine and an ATM and a couple other places. Because I have a bit of a minor crowd anxiety issue. And since we were all packed in like sardines at the show, I would occasionally come out of my seat and just go back and forth, just relax a little bit and just get in and out of the crowd. And, you know, it was good to be able to do that. Also, to get my hearing back, because my left ear was basically partially deaf. And I told that to every night as he was talking to me. I was like, sorry, sir, but like I have pitch perfect hearing. So I hear a lot of background noise, but I don't really hear any voices, especially when somebody's screaming in my ear for my left ear for the first 3 matches. So after that was the match that got the crowd back on its feet at this point, was starting to build the crowd back up. Cyclone Jones versus Urza Ellswood. So Urza Ellswood is that vegan hippie wrestler that I talked about on the last show who was in the Battle Royale. He's the New Age Traveler.
Okay.
So basically, he's a psycho hipster. And his gimmick works. And his personality.
Is he a heel or a face?
He's a heel.
Okay, good. I was going to be like, please tell me we're not making a hipster a face here.
No.
Thank God.
He's embraced and embodied the classic snobbish Jamestown hipster into this wonderful persona that is just makes him hateable. Normally, he's attended by his manager, but I believe his manager was at his own wedding, so he wasn't there. Here's hoping that they tombstone the priest. Yes, I say this often every single time a wrestling personality gets into a wedding.
Oh, come on. If we all did that, there wouldn't be any priests left, Fizzy.
Then they'd have to sell better at taking a tombstone. Anyway, this was Cyclone Jones versus Urza Ellswood, and it was a really good match. It was very psychology-based heavily because Urza targeted Cyclone Jones's arm because Cyclone Jones does a Cyclone Power Slam.
Okay.
So he tried to target the arm throughout the entirety of the match. Cyclone Jones fought out of it, had a lot of babyface fire, and defeated Ellswood. And this was a really good match. It really started to bring the crowd back after the sucker gut punch of, oh God, Rico Cruz is in his last match. He's gonna retire.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one negative of this show that I have, and it's an understandable, legitimate concern, because like, I know that they're trying to do the drama-filled storyline. I get it. I understand completely what you were trying to accomplish there. This crowd, not with this crowd though.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the tables match and the next several matches after that really got the crowd back, because it was a tepid reception for Jones versus Ellswood, but they got the crowd into it. And then the Homewreckers and the Divine Alliance happened. This was a tables match for the Southern Tier Wrestling Tag Team Championships of the world. And the Divine Alliance bring out a running out of tables. To which I heckled, are you sure you want to be singing something that might bring about your imminent demise? Then the Homewreckers come out. They don't have any tables, but this was a really solid psychology-based match where the Homewreckers and the Divine Alliance do all sorts of high-risk maneuvers on one another to make sure to put the other one through a table. The Divine Alliance tries to use their numbers game in this match when all of a sudden, Santino Marella magically appears in the middle of the ring delivering sock puppet-based justice to the world. Cobra! All three members of the Divine Alliance take a Cobra to the throat. And then the Homewreckers proceed to 3D Caesar through a table for the 1, 2, 3.
Nice. So, did they need to get a pin, or was it just someone went through it, or
somebody had to go through a table?
Okay.
Yeah, this was a really solid psychology-based match. It was very well done for considering the fact that they just had 2 tables. They just had 2 tables for this match, and it was really fun. Because this is the first time I've ever seen a tables match live. And it was a really nice, it was really something different that I'd never seen before. And it was, so we had that match. And I'm bringing up my Battle Lines notes here. So, yes, it was So, this was another time that the Homewreckers have defeated the Divine Alliance. And since they won against the Divine Alliance in this Rise of the Cobra show, the Divine Alliance can no longer challenge for the Tag Team Championships. I feel like that's a really solid story.
I do, too. I mean, they beat them at least twice from what you're telling me.
I think they also beat them at the Fredonia show, or actually went to a no contest or DQ.
Okay. So, well, at the very least, they beat them twice, possibly 3 times. And now the Divine Alliance can no longer challenge them as long as they're the champs. Makes sense to me.
Yep, and there's a couple of tag teams in the wings to face against them, including a certain Canadian team that we'll get to. But first, we have to talk about the other Canadian. Asylum versus J-Rock. Okay, now these 2 individuals are ring veterans. Asylum has been wrestling since 2004. J-Rock has been around since 1998-99. So these are ring veterans who know how to work a crowd despite their age.
Yep, they know what they're doing.
Oh, yes, and J-Rock certainly knows how to rile up a crowd to the point of nearly getting a mass riot going. See, J-Rock still believes that this is Johnstown. Yes, Johnstown. Not Jamestown, Johnstown. Somehow he is confusing Jamestown for Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
See, we both know that's total cheap heat, but I absolutely love it.
Yes, it's wonderful. And he was asking us to all give it up one time and bow down for J-Rock Daddy. Oh my God, this man knows how to rile up a crowd and get them into the palm of his hand so that it makes Asylum's job easy. People are chanting Cue Ball and Mr. Clean and J-Rock, because the guy's bald. Where I was a bit more inventive in my chants against him. See, J-Rock is a massive fan of the Cleveland-based sports teams. Bless his soul.
Oh, please tell me you chanted Factory of Sadness at him.
No, I did not chant Factory of Sadness at him since it was
Oh.
appropriate because baseball season just ended and the Cleveland Indians lost to the
Oh.
New York Yankees.
Oh.
So I chanted New York Yankees at the guy. How did this not get me mauled to death? I don't know. But
Yeah. Oh, man. You should have given him crap about the Cavs being like 4-7 or something like that.
that would be too mean. That would be too mean,
Oh.
Sal. Because currently we're in basketball season. It's not playoff time at this point. But the Cleveland Indians losing in the playoffs to the New York Yankees when they were expected to win and go back to the World Series.
Yeah. Well,
So-
it didn't work out for them.
Yeah, didn't work out for them, but this match was awesome. This was a really fun back and forth, heavy psychology based match where J-Rock wore down Asylum, where Asylum proceeded to come back strong in the second half of the match, repeatedly body slammed him into the turnbuckle about 4 times. You know how the splash, you know how Mark Henry does the splash thing? Asylum
Yeah.
did it to him 4 times, and this guy is not small. So it was an awesome, awesome match. And these two ring veterans did absolutely an amazing job to get the crowd back on their feet, screaming and yelling at the wrestlers. And J-Rock was amazing as just this despicable hate stink. Only another despicable hate stink decided to show up at the end of the match after Asylum beat J-Rock. See, Brandon Thurston was not particularly happy that him and his patron saints of professional wrestling lost in that 8-man tag team match earlier in the show. So he decided to take out his pent-up frustrations by deciding to try and rip off Asylum's arm off with an arm bar.
As you do.
Yes, a cross arm breaker. So he has a finisher where he does a submission finisher with the arm. And so you have Brandon Thurston versus Asylum on a future STW show for the #1 contendership for the heavyweight championship, because now Asylum is #1 contender because he defeated J-Rock.
Okay.
So we now have a situation where the ring veteran of Asylum from Canada faces off against the despicable Brandon Thurston and his merry band of patron saints of professional wrestling.
Hooray!
Yes. And it was a good thing that Asylum and J-Rock had their match when they did, because, well, afterwards I took a break. I got myself a soda. So the next match that happened was Ryan Cassidy and Cloudy. Yes, Cloudy of Cheech and Cloudy versus the Rochester City Wrecking Crew, or the Rock City Wrecking Crew, which is comprised of the guys from Rochester. So this match was a very, very good tag match that I caught at towards the. I caught this match towards the middle of the match, where after the entrances of Ryan Cassidy and Cloudy, for you see, Ryan Cassidy decided to one-up J-Rock in the matter of getting the crowd to hate his literal guts. Do you want to know what he decided to chant at this show?
What did he decide to chant?
He decided to sing the Canadian National Anthem.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Canada. To which the arena began shaking violently in a torrent of boos because he decided to do the Oh, Canada chant in Jamestown. Let me give you a little history about Jamestown. If you say you're from any other province other than Jamestown, you will probably be booed out of the building eventually. You could say that you are from South Dayton, New York, which is only about 10-50. It's about, I would say, 25, 35 miles away, and you'd be booed out of the building like you were some guy from a Middle Eastern country. So essentially, Ryan Cassidy became the most hated man in that very moment in this ice arena for chanting "Oh Canada" and singing.
See, he would have gotten a total face pop from my stepdad because he's from Windsor. So,
but if he sang the Canadian national anthem at the Little Caesars Arena, he'd be getting booed, right?
Honestly, you might get a little bit of cheers because, you get a lot of people come down from Windsor and stuff for Wings games because Windsor is pretty much half Wings fans, half Leafs fans. So, I mean, If you took like a standard Detroit Red Wings crowd and put him there, he might actually get cheered.
Yeah. So anyway, this young tag team really, really brought the heat in this match. And this was a really good tag match. The Rock City Wrecking Crew, which is comprised of veteran Hellcat, he was the hot tag guy. His tag partner was the one that got most of the most of it dished out against him. Cassidy and Cloudy did frequent tags in and out of the match. And they worked the crowd to the point. Now, the person who was sitting right next to me was really, really, really hated Ryan Cassidy. And he proceeded to be at his loudest when this match happened. So I have Ryan Cassidy to thank for my left ear not being able to hear as well as it should, at least after the first few days.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God. He was like, he's chanting, "You suck!" It was like unbelievable. I was like, oh, my God. It was like, it was just so unbelievable. It was,
Yeah.
And then we reached the main event. Tag match ended with Cassidy. Okay, so here we are, Rise of the Cobra. So this was the Rock City Wrecking Crew, Matic and Hellcat versus Cloudy and Ryan Cassidy, which ended with Cloudy and Ryan Cassidy defeating the Rock City Wrecking Crew, who proceeded to do a USA chant in this match. So, interesting. They have. I'm looking at the cage match results here, and they actually have some results incorrect. It wasn't Frankie Fevers was not in this match. It was Caesar. Caesar was in this match, and Johnny Puma was his tag partner. So, because at the match that I went to at the fairgrounds, it was Fevers and Puma. But at this show, it was Caesar and Puma. So that's an interesting thing to look up. So after that, we have our STW Heavyweight Title Match of the World. We have Bill Collier versus Rico Cruz in a match that took a while to get going because the crowd was really sad. They were sad about the fact that Rico Cruz, that this would most likely be Rico Cruz's last match, because like either there was going to be a surprise finish and Rico was going to win the belt and then lose it at the next show, or big time Bill Collier was going to retain. And they like both wrestlers. So we have a situation where we're both cheering for both.
Yeah.
And this was one of Bill Collier and Rico Cruz's best matches. Because Collier, what he did, since this was Rico's last match, he was like, going to be as safe as possible. He did 7 suplexes on the guy. Low impact suplexes. Rico bounced around the ring. It was perfectly safe. All of the match was wonderful. It was the wonderful story of David not being able to beat Goliath in this situation. Because I would like you to imagine the picture of Colin Cassidy.
Okay.
Because that's what Bill Collier looks like, except he's not Colin Cassidy. He's actually a really solid wrestler.
He's Colin Cassidy, but good.
Good to great. Put him with the right opponent, this guy can do wonders. I saw him at a big-time pro wrestling 8-man tag match back in 2015. And he was in an 8-man tag match, and I saw, oh my God, this guy's got potential. This guy's really good. If a promotion gives him a shot at the heavyweight championship and has him run with the thing, he's gonna do good things. Collier was amazing in this match because he was really safe with Cruz, which was important because this guy is having his last match. He doesn't want to end up in a wheelchair after his last show, okay? So this was a fun match. Sad, somber, but the ending of the show made up all for it. See, when Collier won the match, and he did several segments where he was looking over at Cruz and basically going, why did you just give up, man? And Rico would kick out of 2. Rico would kick out of 2. And then finally, the 7th suplex did him in. And at the end of the show, all the wrestlers came around the ring and proceeded to clap and cheer on Rico. and say, "Thank you, Rico." And Collier handed him his championship belt so that Rico could pose with it. And his little girl, his daughter, came up to the ring, and Rico picked him up. And he stood in the middle of the ring with his daughter in one arm and the championship belt on the other. And he stood there and he cried. And it was a very, very emotional moment. It was like, we were chanting Frankie Rico. Everybody else was chanting Frankie Rico who was there. And like, this is a guy I've seen on a couple of these cards, and it's done really good job every single time I've seen him out there. And this was an emotional moment for him, and this was an emotional moment for everybody else in the crowd. And that segment worked. The promo segment beforehand didn't work because it got punched the crowd. If they just said that if Rico declares that this will be, that if he doesn't win the championship, then he retires. If they'd done that before the show and the people knew about it ahead of time, it would have worked out a lot better. But they wanted to make it a surprise. And I get it. I understand. You want that sudden swerve, that surprise. But if you know that this guy is going to be having his last match, make it as big a deal as possible to make it that this guy might win this championship belt. He might not retire.
Yeah.
So it leaves it open to the decision of, is he going to win the belt or is Collier going to retain? And I love the endings of segment of the show. It was a really, really good emotional segment to send the Chrome Hound happy, as at least send the crowd home happy, at least for this segment. And they did a great job in that segment. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because after that I met with Thurston. I met him for the second time. You know, he was really happy to see me there again. I told him, like, I got tickets the last minute because, like, continuing my story of how I got these. We bought them on Friday night. We bought the tickets at Friday night, and we showed up at the show on Saturday. And I did my Christmas holiday shopping, which was buying merchandise from wrestlers, because it saves money, you know, because you don't have to order it online and have to pay shipping and handling. If you buy directly from the wrestlers, it goes directly into their pockets. So this was a really, really good show. Still there, Sal?
Yeah, I'm still here. I was just listening to you recap it. So
yeah. So yeah, this was a really, really good show. At the end of the show, and then I met Rico, and Rico posed for a photo with us. And like I said to him, "Is this your last match, man?" And he said, "Yeah, this is my last match." I'm like, it's like, thank you so much. Thank you. You know, so very thankful for all the wrestlers and what they do for, you know, at this local independent wrestling show. For just $10, general admission ticket, ringside seats were only $30, and that's with a autographed photo of Santino Marella. And then if you just bought a general ringside seat ticket, it was just $20 without the photo. So overall, really good deal. If anybody is ever interested, they're going to be running more shows next year. They haven't announced dates or times for Southern Tier Wrestling yet. But this is my regional promotion, and they've been running since 2016. And I'm like, okay, they're still here. They're running shows. They're bringing in an audience. This was a really solid, really fun show that had a lot of great matches in it. All of the matches, for me at least, and I'm to a certain degree, I am biased because I want my local promotion to do well. Okay.
Of course you do.
I hear all the time from my wrestling buddies, all of their local promotions. I mean, Curtain Jerker, he's got, what is it?
AAW.
AAW up in Chicago. Chris has got local promotions in New York. You actually have a local indie in Detroit.
Yeah, still haven't been able really to get out there, mainly because work and stuff's been busy, but I've been meaning to. Duke has Nova Pro, which I've heard is doing some very good work.
And my buddy Reverend Kane watches the independent wrestling all the time and does articles on Sermon on the Mat. So I'm like, for me to be able to experience a local independent wrestling show with local wrestlers from Buffalo, Rochester, Brockport, Jamestown, Olean, Cleveland, Canada, coming into the show and doing really good work is so nice to see, especially since Jamestown, New York has been so dormant on professional wrestling for about the last 25 years. So for me, and it's wonderful to cover this show. It's wonderful to cover the local independent wrestling scene. And like I said, thank you so much to all the wrestlers who were on this card, who worked their hearts out to entertain this audience in this frigid 30-degree ice arena. Right before winter, and it snowed last night. It's actually snowed last night. There's actually snow on my lawn. So that was STW's Rise of the Cobra. And we covered Power Struggle earlier in the show. We covered the title switch with AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar. And next week, I guess we're going to be back in the world of WWE with the Survivor Series preview.
Yep.
Now, quick note, folks, the time and date of that show may be changing because, once again, we have some scheduling things that we're going to be working out. I will hear back from Sal on Wednesday.
Yep. It might not change. It might change. I don't know yet, guys. I'm sorry about this. I have a personal appointment that I need to make. So, I will probably, we'll let you guys know ahead of time. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Next week, we'll probably talk the preview of Survivor Series. We might preview the World Tag League. Might not. I don't know. And we'll probably cover the first couple days of sumo.
Oh, yes, of course, because remember, folks, this upcoming Sunday is the start of the Kushu Basho, which is the Winter Basho tournament we covered last week on Wacky World of Wrestling. This has been episode 34 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. Thank you so much for tuning in this edition of the show. We hope you enjoy this broadcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Fizzpatrick14.
You can follow me at Cusmano_Sal.
And once again, we thank you so much for tuning in on this edition of the broadcast. It's always so fun to cover a local independent wrestling promotion that I went to this last weekend, and for Sal to cover a New Japan show.
Yep. Before we get out of here, really quick, our plugs. Check out Taker's Minion and Mr. Dr. Senju for Shooting the Breeze. They have moved to Saturdays now. Saturdays at 11 Eastern, 10 Central in the morning. Tomorrow will be their 20th show, so you'll want to check that one out. And coming on in about 15 minutes will be Two Guys, One Sport with our friends Crazy Chris and Curtain Jerker.
Yes, there will be a link to the show on my page to see. It will be live in about 15 minutes or so. That's why we're wrapping up the show now. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you next week for a time and date to be determined. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you guys.